As I like to remind people, we are what we consume. And today I want to talk about how this applies to our mindset. Our mindset is built based on the stories we're told, and then it tells us stories about the world. And I want to kind of talk out with you just how far back this goes into our childhood, how these things are built, and yet again, how quickly and easily these things can change depending on who we spend our time with, what we spend our time consuming. So, to give you a little bit of background on where this is coming from, recently I have been watching Disney movies, children's movies, and specifically this all came about because I decided to watch Encanto. And oh boy, not Encanto is not one of my favorite movies. Let's just put it that way. And so this led me down this rabbit hole of what movies were like when I was a child. So I went back and I watched Beauty and the Beast, which is what I want to use as an example today. Pinocchio. I'm gonna watch Bambi. Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Mary Poppins, all sorts of stuff from my childhood. Fantasia, all sorts of stuff. And I did this because while watching Encanto, I was like, I don't totally remember all of these movies very well, but I have a sneaky suspicion that all the movies I watched as a child were much more deep on a profound and artistic level than this new propaganda that is being pushed out to kids these days. And I was right. And that's not to say that Encanto doesn't have some amazing messages and some amazing artistry in it. But that said, it's just very indicative of the times. We'll leave it at that. So anyway, back to mindset. I want to give you an example using Beauty and the Beast of how you could take this one thing and interpret it two different ways and expound that out into what this has to do with mindset. So, Beauty and the Beast, for instance, there are some people who look at it and, I've heard people talk about things like she has Stockholm syndrome with her captor and how, it's just another princess story who has to find the man to be fulfilled and all sorts of stuff like that. I've even heard people talk about how Gaston could secretly be gay. All of these interpretations very specific to our current common mindset that people are proliferating. Now, on the other hand, you can look at this movie and recognize the empowerment in it, in the sense that Belle is someone who is outcasted for her intelligence and her difference of opinion, and yet she prevails. And not only does she make a spectacular life for herself, she also goes on this journey of allowing herself to see under the skin, not reading the book by its cover in that sense, but working through the relationship, through the gruff exterior of the beast, and helping him find the kind and sweet interior that he knows and she comes to know he's capable of. So on the one hand, you have these people saying that this is a bad example to set for girls. Girls don't need a man. They shouldn't relate to their captors, etc., etc., etc. And on the other hand, you could say that it's empowering for girls to know that they can do it on their own and they don't have to follow a specific man, but can go find the person who they're really meant to be with. An example of how relationships take work. And what you're going to see in this same story, because it's not like we're watching two different movies here, we're watching the same movie, but it's all based on the mindset of the person watching it. That's going to determine which they extract from the same story. This is how powerful our mindset is. Because depending on what stories you've been told, and therefore what stories you're telling yourself, is going to determine how you see the world. Because we're all seeing the same world. And it is only our perception of the past, our experience of the past that creates our perception, rather, that dictates how we observe the things around us. So, being able to recognize that at any moment in time, you can take the opportunity to not only change your mindset, but expand your consciousness to not only better your life, but see the world differently, and not only see the world differently, but see the world from the many different perspectives that are possible. Because the world is just one thing. But we place meaning on it. And those meanings can be many. And it's up to us what meaning we want to see. And let me tell you, the one thing I can say for sure is that the profound difference that being able to experience as many different things as possible has on one's mindset is mind-blowing. Which is why I am so grateful that I have gotten the opportunity to go to many different places across this world, many different places across the country that I live in, the United States of America. Have had the opportunity to have many different friends in many different walks of life, on so many different levels. Because at the end of the day, you want to have book smarts and street smarts. And if you're lacking one or the other, you're going to be lacking a perspective, and that is going to color your perception of the world differently. The more perceptions, the more experiences you can carve out of life for yourself, the more healthy, the more happy you can be, because with that experience comes not just knowledge, but wisdom. And that is what I'm going to get into tomorrow for my next video. The difference between knowledge and wisdom. Thank you guys for joining me for another video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description. I have Patreon, I have dōTERRA, I have my one-on-one holistic health sessions, I have my mailing list. I'm sure I have some other things in there as well at this point. Don't forget to check them all out. May the energy you serve you well. And let's keep making our way through. I am. So I know you can too.